Chicago's #1 news, ABC7 Eyewitness News at 7, starts streaming now.
And we begin tonight with breaking news. Video of 5 Memphis police officers beating Tyre Nichols was just released about an hour ago.
Right now, protests are happening in Memphis. We're hearing protesters have shut down an interstate in that city. Police here in Chicago are prepared should any larger protests happen here. Eric Huang joins us live in our newsroom tonight with what that video just released shows. Eric?
Rob and Cheryl, we are still going through that video, and there's not much we can show you right now as we continue to screen the footage. The video released includes 4 separate clips, 3 from police body camera and a 4th from a city surveillance camera. In this first clip that we want to show you that first aired in an ABC News special report, 29-year-old Tyre Nichols is stopped by police on January 7th and pulled from his vehicle.
Damn, I didn't do anything. Hey, I didn't turn your ass around. All right. Hold the ground. You don't do that, okay? Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Okay. I'm tase your ass. All right, I'm on the ground. Lay down. Chest up.
We had to bleep some of the audio there. That again was the moment Nichols was pulled from his car initially after being stopped. Police say Nichols ran from that traffic stop, and this next clip shows officers later confronting Nichols and using pepper spray on him as he calls out for his mother.
Hey! Give me your hand! Give me your hand! Give me your hand! You might get sprayed again! Hey, Mike! Hey, bro! Watch out! Watch out!
That footage that was just released by the city of Memphis is more than an hour long. Again, we continue to go through that video, and we'll bring you the latest on our news at 10. In the newsroom, Eric Hong, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Eric, we'll see you again at 10 tonight. Earlier today, Nichols' family spoke and called for peace.
ABC's Wynn continues our coverage tonight from Memphis.
For me to find out that my son was calling my name and I was only feet away, did not even hear him. You have no clue how I feel right now.
The Nichols family's attorneys calling for systemic police reform to prevent any further potentially unjustified police killings. Also applauding the swift actions from local, state, and federal authorities for not delaying firing and then bringing charges against 5 Memphis police officers, saying that should be the blueprint for future similar incidents.
No longer can you tell us we got to wait 6 months to a year, even though we got a video with evidence of the excessive force and the crime.
Police saying Nichols was initially pulled over for alleged reckless driving before he fled on foot and was confronted again, this time more physical. Nichols was hospitalized for 3 days before he succumbed to his injuries. The police officers, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Desmond Mills Jr., Emmett Martin III, and Justin Smith, each now facing second-degree murder and other charges in connection to Nichols' death. An internal investigation concluded the officers used excessive force and failed to intervene or render aid.
I've seen the video myself, and I will tell you I was appalled.
FBI Director Christopher Wray says he's already alerted FBI field offices nationwide to prepare in case anything gets out of hand tonight. The Nichols family urging for any demonstrations to be peaceful and calm. In Memphis, Wynn, ABC7 Eyewitness News. Rob, Cheryl.
Thank you. Chicago Police City officials say they'll be closely monitoring any events here in our area this evening and in the coming days.
And this afternoon, Mayor Lori Lightfoot echoing calls by Tyre Nichols' family to protest peacefully.
Look, from what I've been led to believe, these are going to be really tough videos for people to watch. And people are going to have a lot of emotional reaction to them. But I hope that that emotional reaction doesn't lead to destruction of property, acts of violence, or other things that frankly undermine, I think, the strength of our city.
And in a statement, Chicago Police and the city's Office of Emergency Management and Communications says there is no actionable intelligence in Chicago at this time, and resources will be adjusted as necessary as the situation develops. Now, we're going to continue to follow the situation in Memphis and the response right here in Chicago. We'll have much more on this story coming up tonight on Eyewitness News at 10 o'clock.
Turn to our weather now. A mess on the roads. Look at this. Whiteout conditions leading to big problems north of the Illinois state line. At least 27 people were hurt when dozens of vehicles crashed on I-39 and 90 between Beloit and Janesville, Wisconsin. Part of that road still shut down at this hour. And closer to home, look at this. At least 10 cars crashed on I-94 in Kenosha County this afternoon. The southbound lanes were briefly shut down as crews got those damaged cars off the road. Tonight, no reports of serious injuries from this incident.
And we are expecting more snow right here closer to home this weekend.
Meteorologist Larry Maury joins us now with the ABC 7 AccuWeather forecast. Kind of depends on where you are and how much snow you're going to get.
Yeah, it really does. And it looks like the northern half of the area has the best chance of seeing several inches of snow during the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. Because of that, we've got winter weather advisories in place, which does include the city, DuPage County, Kane and DeKalb counties, then up into McHenry and Lake counties as well. This officially starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow and continues until Sunday morning at 3 a.m. Now, we had some bursts of snow earlier in the day. You can see how the radar was lit up with these fast-moving bursts of snow combined with the gusty winds. It really reduced visibility and created some slick spots. Now things are pretty quiet. In fact, from that live picture you saw a second ago, skies have partially cleared out this evening, and we have no rain or snow showing up on Live Doppler 7 Max radar. But there is a cold front moving through the area. It's still 32 at Midway, 32 at O'Hare, but we're down to 24 in DeKalb and 25 right now in Woodstock. The winds are still gusty, now to 40 miles per hour in Gary, a gust of 46 over in Valparaiso. So as that front slides through, the winds have been quite strong. Overnight tonight, we drop into the upper teens and low 20s, and then here comes the snow. We'll have some scattered snow showers late morning into the midday, but the bulk of the snow, at least during the daytime hours tomorrow, will fall across the northern suburbs. But tomorrow evening, that snow expands southward, and we'll have to watch for a little freezing drizzle if you're south of I-80 during the evening tomorrow as the snow continues to fall. How much do we get? Well, the highest total is up to the north. Not much, if anything, down to the south. And we'll talk more about the snow totals and some cold weather for next week in just a few moments.
Larry, see you soon. Massive fire overnight destroys a longtime Chicago catering business, also forced Chicago's Meals on Wheels program to scramble for a new way to feed thousands of area seniors. Our Christian Picos reports from that scene. It's not far from Midway Airport.
Chicago fire officials say George's Catering is a total loss, and the cause of the blaze is still under investigation. All that remains is the company's torched facade. That company has served this community since 1946 for 77 years, and now its future is uncertain. Flames and smoke billow out of George's Catering early this morning on 63rd and South Central Avenue, reducing the 77-year-old catering company to ash in the city's Clearing neighborhood.
That's real sad. That's real sad.
George's Catering worked closely with Meals on Wheels of Northern Illinois, providing around 10,000 meals weekly for some of the area's most vulnerable senior citizens.
It's an astronomical impact on what we do every day.
The CEO of the nonprofit says they rely on companies like George's Catering to make a difference.
On an everyday basis, you know, we serve about 3,000 square miles and we have over 800 volunteers. So we're always looking to work with the community.
It was a real fire going on. There was like a boom, I heard like a boom, oh my goodness.
Tony and Helen Chan own a small deli next door to George's Catering and shared surveillance video of smoke building in their restaurant as the fire raged just feet away.
We are okay for the business, but make sure for my personal attention, you know, everything must be clean.
Jose Martinez has worked for the catering company for 33 years and is at a loss for words over this devastating fire.
You know, it's bad and sad because like we had a lot of people without food today, you know.
Meals on Wheels was able to provide some emergency meals to some of its clients today, and it is working with local restaurants to help meet the need now left behind by George's Catering. We're in the Clearing neighborhood. I'm Christian Picos, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Thanks so much, Christian. And frightening moments for the people on board a small plane that made a rough landing at O'Hare this morning. We've been told that the pilot of Cape Air flight had a landing gear issue. The plane was arriving from Manistee, Michigan. No one was hurt, but the plane had to be towed.
Woman who vandalized a memorial for a fallen Chicago police officer has been sentenced to 2 years probation. Anna Kochakian pleaded guilty to criminal damage to property. She was accused of ripping down a photo of Officer Ella French from a memorial located at the Thompson Center in 2021. French and her partner, Officer Carlos Yanez, were shot during a traffic stop. Yanez survived.
Newly released police video shows part of the attack against Nancy Pelosi's husband inside their San Francisco home.
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Drop the hammer.
You can hear police telling the man accused of the attack, David DePape, to let go of the hammer. He's trying to wrestle away from the 82-year-old Pelosi. We have frozen the video just before the suspect swings the hammer at Pelosi, who falls out of frame and loses consciousness.
I have absolutely no intention of seeing the deadly assault on my husband's life.
Surveillance video shows DePape breaking into the home before the attack. He has pleaded not guilty and remains in jail without bail. Paul Pelosi underwent surgery for a skull fracture.
Today, President Biden announced a new White House chief of staff. Jeff Zients previously led the administration's COVID-19 response. He will be taking over for Ron Klain, who resigned after 2 years. This is considered the first major personnel change in the Biden administration.
And back here at home, we've learned the business moving into the Whole Foods location in Chicago's Inglewood neighborhood. It closed back in November, making it harder for people nearby to buy fresh produce. But some people in the neighborhood are upset that Whole Foods is being replaced by a Save-A-Lot. Evelyn Holmes reports.
For Inglewood resident Cedric Dupree, the new Save-A-Lot grocery store slated to open at the site of the shuttled Whole Foods at 63rd and Halsted is an answer to a prayer.
I'm grateful for it. Places like Pete's and Whole Foods and other places, we can't afford that.
Store signs went up yesterday, but not everyone is sold on Save-A-Lot.
It's like a cheaper food, but maybe the quality value is not there.
The new grocery store will be operated by Cleveland-based investment group Yellow Banana, which already operates a total of 38 Save-A-Lot grocery stores, including a few here in the city and nationally. A concerned Alderman Stephanie Coleman, whose 16th ward is home to the store, expressed frustration over the Whole Foods replacement.
My community deserves a quality, affordable grocery store.
Meanwhile, Aisha Butler, who is CEO of RAGE, the Resident Association of Greater Inglewood, says the community was kept out of the decision-making process and says Save-A-Lot could not have only been the only option.
This is not the store of our choice. People made it very loud and clear that they did not want this.
Last summer, Yellow Banana received $13.5 million in tax increment money to reopen shuttered and/or renovate Save-A-Lot stores on the south and west sides. Inglewood resident and businessman Glenn Fulton, who helped bring Whole Foods to the neighborhood in 2016, says the new grocery store is a golden opportunity.
As opposed to talking about we don't want a low-quality store, we can actually provide the quality of store that we want here in the community.
There is no announced opening date for the new grocery store, but some here in the community who do not want a Save-A-Lot say when it does open, they'll boycott it. Reporting from Chicago's Inglewood neighborhood, Evelyn Holmes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Evelyn, thank you. Second Gentleman Doug Imhoff visited concentration camps in Poland. To mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day, he walked beneath the notorious gate at Auschwitz that reads, quote, "Work makes you free," before laying a wreath there. At another camp, he placed a white stone at the site of a destroyed crematorium, a Jewish tradition to honor the dead. People from around the world are reflecting on the atrocities of the Holocaust. Survivor Nellie Wiesenthal-Fink says she's made it her life's mission to educate people about the horrors of the Holocaust all year long, not just on International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
I love to go to schools because they're receptive, they listen, and they ask questions. That's the best part. There's so much work to do. And as Elie Wiesel said, if you weren't there, you can't know how bad it was.
Fink is a volunteer for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. The museum, based in Washington, D.C., celebrating a major milestone this year, 30 years of existence.
And Chicago will celebrate Lunar New Year this weekend, and safety is a top concern. The events are happening after a mass shooting at a Lunar New Year celebration in California last weekend. Mayor Kawash tonight reporting on what Chicago police have planned to keep people safe.
A ton of excitement for the return of these parades here in Uptown and Chinatown. Here on Argyle Street, you could expect it to be jam-packed by tomorrow afternoon. Restaurants in this area tell us they're excited for the influx of customers that they're expecting with this parade. And security, yes, it's on the mind of many. The city telling us both the parades will be well guarded. Chicago's biggest Lunar New Year celebrations taking over the city this weekend. Chinatown and Uptown embracing the Year of the Rabbit.
It's good to have the parade, the celebration around the area. It can help all the business, like it's draw people around the city in the area.
The first parade kicking off in Uptown tomorrow at 1 with more than 30 floats and a couple thousand people taking over Argyle Street.
It's wonderful. It's a great time to celebrate the culture, the businesses that we have here, the diversity we have in our community.
Chicago police planning to increase its presence across the city this weekend. City leaders announcing the need for that earlier this week, following the mass shooting that killed 11 people during Lunar New Year celebrations in California.
There's been extra precautions, so there'll be a lot of volunteers, there'll be a police presence, but it'll be a fun, safe event for everyone who comes.
Chinatown celebration steps off Sunday afternoon near Wentworth Avenue, and the Chamber of Commerce has hired some private security to go along with additional city resources. People in the Chinatown community tell us they're excited for the weekend and not too worried about any security concerns. Sammy runs this convenience shop on Wentworth Avenue, and the decorations are all ready for the festivities.
In the hand, you can bring that.
After dealing with a shortage of business in recent years during the pandemic, these shop owners tell us they're anxious for the boost in customers that could come with these parades.
More customer and more money in Chinatown.
We've been suffering with the pandemic a couple years ago, right? Or last year still. So it's helped us a lot to have people coming in.
So everyone's certainly excited for what's to come this weekend. Everyone telling us that they just want to focus on the meaning of the Year of the Rabbit, which is peace, prosperity, and happiness. From Uptown, Mayor Kawash, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you.
Mayor, thank you.
Yeah, very nice. All right. Well, of course, Lunar New Year is meant to be a celebration, as Mayor Kawash was talking about, the Year of the Rabbit.
Up next, some representatives from the Chinatown Chamber of Commerce will join us here live in the studio to share the fun people can expect this weekend.
We like that. We see the parade from last year, of course.
Right.
It was very cold last year this weekend, remember?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break on the other side. We'll see you. Ah, look at this city.
Looks nice.
Yeah, pretty. It's Friday night, everybody. We made it through another work week together. Lots of sparkling lights out there. People are on the streets, even though it's snow. Maybe they're getting it out of the way because tomorrow it's going to snow.
Yeah, and you could see the streets here,
right?
Even some of the high-rise buildings. But earlier today,
it was on the grass. It was all over. It was
bursts of snow.
Right, just kind of hit you in the face, as you were walking.
Looked like a beautiful snow globe.
Right.
Heavy snow squalls coming through.
Yeah,
it was windy.
Friday.
And it was cold, and it was one of those days where we haven't had many days like this so far this season. But tomorrow we get more snow coming our way. It's going to begin around 9 o'clock, probably a few hours after that in some spots, but just scattered snow showers during the daylight. The heaviest of the snow will actually come in during the evening hours and then continue a little bit into tomorrow night. How much are we looking at? Well, it depends on where you are. If you're in the south suburbs, especially south of I-80, really not much snow will stick to the ground. A dusting to maybe an inch or two, but there'll be some rain that mixes in, even the potential for some freezing rain as well. Here in the city, about 2 to 4 inches, then in the northern suburbs, about 3 to 6 inches. Temperatures will range from the 20s up to the north to mid-30s down to the south, so there will be a pretty big spread in temperatures, and that will obviously influence the amount of snow we get. So here's kind of a map outline of where I think the heaviest snow will fall. 3 to 6 inches up here across parts of Lake and McHenry counties, and then there'll be a sharp cutoff in those numbers once you get into the western suburbs and across the city, and then virtually nothing to maybe an inch or two across some of the far south suburbs. Now, the one thing to be aware of is that there is the potential that the numbers could come in a little bit higher up along the state line, even into southern Wisconsin. Some isolated 6 or more inches of totals will be possible in this zone. So if this wobbles a little bit, maybe it tracks a little farther to the north or a little farther to the south, there will be a sharp cutoff in snow totals from north to south. And that's kind of reflected here in our winter weather advisory outline. You see the counties shaded in blue are under a winter weather advisory between 9 a.m. tomorrow and Sunday at 3 a.m. It includes the city, DuPage County, Kane and DeKalb County, also McHenry and Lake County, you're included. We're dry now. We had those snow areas come through earlier today. We're right around freezing at O'Hare and Midway, 20s out to the west, still above freezing in northwest Indiana. But here's kind of the last burst of snow that came through that produced those real heavy snow downpours and also the gusty winds, which led to some slick spots on the roadways. But there's a cold front moving through as we speak, and that front is dropping the temperatures into the mid-20s behind it. And winds are still rather gusty, up around 35 to 40 miles per hour, even a gust to 44 miles per hour in Valparaiso. So here's the next system coming our way. It'll track out of the Rockies and head in our direction tomorrow. It'll drag this front into our area during the day tomorrow, and just north of the front is where the snow will expand in coverage around midday into the early afternoon. Temperatures in the upper 20s tomorrow. As we head into tomorrow evening, the snow will get a little bit heavier and kind of expand a little farther to the south. We'll have to watch for the possibility of some freezing rain too in some of the far south parts of our area. And then on Sunday, we'll dry things out. So here's a closer look at the snow on Futurecast for us. Tomorrow morning, we'll start off dry, temperatures in the upper teens and low 20s. Then here come the first batches of snow, scattered snow showers during the afternoon, but it'll favor the northern half of the area through much of the afternoon. So if you're in the city out towards Naperville and areas south of there, you may not get a lot of snow during the day, but as we head into the evening, you can see how the snow expands in coverage. Watch that pink area too for the possibility of some freezing drizzle as well. Today we had a high temperature all the way to 36. Up 13 was our low this morning. That's the coldest morning we've seen so far this entire year. Tonight won't be quite as cold, but it'll be chilly. Temperatures in the upper teens to the low 20s. And then tomorrow a high of 29, 26 on Sunday. Only teens for highs on Monday and Tuesday. We get sunshine next week, but it stays cold with those highs in the teens and 20s. Rob?
Okay, I'm so excited about this, Larry. We have not had in-studio guests since this show started more than a year ago. Several Lunar New Year celebrations planned this weekend in Chicago. I have 2 special guests, Susan Liu, Friendship Ambassador, and Amy Shia, the first Princess Ladies. It's so nice to meet you. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah, you look wonderful, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. And like I said, we've never done live interviews on this streaming show, so you two are the first.
Oh my God.
I know.
We're
right?
honored.
Yes, we are honored as well. First, Susan, tell me a little bit about the Lunar New Year.
Well, Chinese New Year is like celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, and your birthday all at the same time. So we love gathering with all our fans and family, and we love celebrating, and especially we got to gather around for a big feast. So.
And Amy, it's the year of the rabbit.
Rabbit, yes.
Can you explain that to us?
So there's 12 zodiacs, and this year being the year of the rabbit, they are known for being so kind and willing to help, and I am so excited to celebrate the year of the rabbit.
Yeah,
everybody.
This weekend too, especially, and we want to talk about events. Well, they're going on all weekend, but tomorrow in particular, there is a parade and all sorts of activities, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Sunday. Okay,
yeah.
Sunday. Yeah. So
parade's on Sunday.
Yeah, tell us about it.
But the parade's on Sunday, and we're expected to see there's going to be lion dancing, dragon dancing, and you should show up. And definitely, if you're lucky, you might get to feed a lion.
Wait, a real lion?
Yeah, real live lion. We have to scare away all the bad luck from last year.
Right. Is that every year is a different animal, right? You had mentioned,
yeah.
So what last year, because of the pandemic we were coming out of, things have changed this year, right?
Oh yeah, last year was the year of the tiger, and then this year we're celebrating Year of the Rabbit. And the Chinatown New Year Parade will be this Sunday, but we also have Navy Pier Lunar New Year celebration at the Grand Ballroom, and as well as the Argyle Lunar New Year Parade. So excited to celebrate that.
There is such a huge Chinese American population here in Chicago. Is this just a time for everyone to gather and celebrate the Lunar New Year, you think?
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely a time where not just people that live nearby, but people from all over the Midwest will come home and come visit their families here in Chinatown.
I have to learn about the Friendship Ambassador, and I'll start with the first princess. What is that about, being a Friendship Ambassador? And tell me about what the two of you do.
So for me, I think it's like a spokesperson for Chinatown and the Asian American community, promoting all the big and small events and making sure everybody's aware of what's happening and just celebrating together.
Yeah, and as the Friendship Ambassador, what does it mean to you?
It means being able to represent my community and to be a voice for my community at times like these. There's a lot going on, and we really love the opportunity to be able to promote our culture and tell the world about what the positives of being Chinese American are.
Before I came into this studio, everyone had met you before, and they said they look just beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
You look so wonderful. And what's a young lady say to you who meets you and see you as a role model, because that's what you are?
Yeah, I mean, we always they love to try on the crown. They definitely get that. And then so it's just, they're always in awe, and it's always so sweet. Little boys too, so you'd be surprised. Everybody tries on the crown.
I'm not trying on the crown, although because I don't want to mess up your wonderful hair, but it looks like it's worth trying out. What are you looking forward to most for this weekend?
I am looking forward to celebrating Chinese New Year with my friends and family. I will be performing at the Navy Pier Chinese New Year celebration, so hoping to see everybody there, actually.
And we'll see both of you on Sunday at the parade.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, pet the tiger for me, or the lion.
Okay,
I'm not going near that thing,
No.
right? Yeah.
Pet the rabbit for you.
Okay, right,
Yes.
the rabbit. Is that good luck? Yeah. Amy and Susan, thank you so much. What a privilege and an honor to meet you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, we're so glad to kick off our first live interview here at 7 with the two of you. So thank you so much. Check it out if you can in Chinatown. And we didn't even talk about the wonderful things that community offers and the great food. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So much to look forward to. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The ABC7 I-Team tonight inside that fatal high-rise fire in Chicago's Kenwood neighborhood on the city's south side, with one resident dead and 9 others hurt, including a firefighter on Wednesday morning. Our investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy and the I-Team have looked into questions about the testing of Harper Square fire safety equipment. Chuck is joining us tonight with our Friday I-Team Insider segment. Chuck, what is the latest on this investigation?
Cheryl, with no answers from the building management company about fire equipment inspection spanning 15 months, the I-Team has tried to answer burning questions about how well residents there were protected, looking at inspection records, violations, and concerns about what's next.
4050 South Lake Park. I saw some fire on the 18th floor.
Before it ended, parts of several floors were on fire, and there were questions about safety precautions, equipment, and procedures here at the 25-story Harper Square Co-op. Many questions tonight remain unanswered, including this from the I-Team's examination of city building department records. Why has the high-rise been allowed to continually operate for 15 months without providing required results from tests on fire alarm and evacuation communication systems? Although some building residents said they learned of the fire around them from TV, friends, or email, authorities did not cite communication issues.
Companies arrived on the scene and then they aggressively attacked the fire. They grabbed the communication systems, notifying all the residents of the building of what was going on, which is really important in a high-rise fire.
Buildings such as this one hire private inspection firms to conduct yearly fire equipment tests and then submit the paperwork to prove city compliance. The I-Team has learned that after being in violation for more than a year, 4850 South Lake Park just today submitted this certification by outside contractor Fox Valley Fire and Safety, paperwork we've obtained that shows fire alarms passed inspection. But these records submitted today were for testing done at the end of 2021, more than a year ago. So at the time of the deadly fire, the high-rise was still not in compliance.
We can do better than that. And I think that certainly one of the ways is by getting out and looking at the buildings and inspecting them, firsthand with city inspectors.
The co-op and its management company didn't answer our questions. Harper Square was also cited in December for having a defective fire pump. CFD officials have told us the building is in violation for that, but they don't feel it had any effect on this week's firefighting. Cheryl?
Chuck, there are so many questions, including who is actually responsible for inspecting these buildings and enforcing the city regulations.
Of course, Cheryl, it always comes down to the city. They're ultimately responsible for enforcing city laws and ordinances. But in this case, they have had to farm out some of the inspection and testing requirements that the city has in place to these buildings and third-party vendors. The city could never handle, they just don't have enough inspectors to handle going to every single building, doing all of these tests. And so they put the onus on the buildings and the management companies to hire outside companies that come in and do this. Normally, it's done flawlessly. Normally, there are no issues at all. In this case, what the I-Team found was that this particular building had gone 15 months or so without submitting the required testing, and they had been cited by the city on numerous occasions and were in violation, yet nothing was done against them.
Chuck, you have highlighted some of the violations and you talked about the 15 months. So how is it possible for any building to stay open for 15 months with repeated fire safety violations?
Certainly that's a question that people who live in that building and others are asking. There is not a good answer to that yet. The city has ordinances that have been put in place by the city council after significant research. These have been in place for years. And there are, in some cases, fines that can be levied. If it goes on long enough, they can take these buildings to court. That didn't happen in this case. And so it raises the question, how long is too long? Some of the experts that the I-Team talked with said, well, maybe 6 months should be it before they're dragged into court and facing, daily fines and some stiffer sanctions than what were in place here, which really amounted to very little, if anything. And so this is the kind of a situation that unfortunately highlights where the city is in enforcing these ordinances. You can certainly expect city council committees to take a look at this and try to figure out whether more should be done to prevent this kind of a thing from happening.
And Chuck, there's been a lot of talk about fire alarms, smoke detectors, but one of the questions also people are asking, would sprinklers have changed the outcome of this fire?
The experts certainly have told us that sprinklers could have contained this fire to the one apartment where the victim died and potentially even have saved her life regardless of how it started. It may well have allowed the fire to be extinguished and not moved up several floors in that building. But it's important to note that this building wasn't required to have sprinklers. I mean, that law went into effect in 1975. The building was built before that. So the city does have certain other kinds of safeguards in effect for situations like that. There are many, many buildings that are not sprinklered because they predate that 1975 city ordinance. They have to have things like fire-rated doors to stop the flames. They have to have a communications system in place that has to be tested. And that was the very specific thing that this building had not provided testing results to the city on for 15 months, the fire communication system. At the end of the day, it may not have had any effect on this fire in particular, but those are the things that are in place that the city, by some measure, needs to do a better job of enforcing.
All right, Chuck, thank you so much for excellent reporting and insight on this Friday. And thank you for joining us for tonight's I-Team Insider Report.
Thanks, Cheryl.
We want to go back to that breaking news out of Memphis. Protesters are out in that city after police released video of officers beating Tyre Nichols.
And he died a few days later. The video can be hard to watch. We want you to know that ABC's M. Wynn is sharing what the video shows tonight.
Tonight, newly released body cam footage authorities say shows the alleged beating death of 29-year-old Tyre Nichols during a traffic stop. Police say 5 now fired Memphis officers initially pulled Nichols over for alleged reckless driving before Nichols fled on foot and was confronted again, this time more physical. The Nichols family's attorneys saying the young father asked officers, "What did I do?" pleading to go home, calling out for his mom. Nichols was hospitalized for 3 days before he succumbed to his injuries.
But for me to find out that my son was calling my name and I was only feet away and did not even hear him, you have no clue how I feel right now.
Their lawyers calling for justice and systemic police reform to prevent any further potentially unjustified police killings. Also applauding the swift actions from local, state, and federal authorities for not delaying firing and then bringing charges against 5 Memphis police officers, saying that should be the blueprint for future similar incidents.
No longer can you tell us we got to wait 6 months to a year, even though we got a video with evidence of the excessive force and the crime.
Police saying Nichols was initially pulled over for alleged reckless driving before he fled on foot and was confronted again, this time more physical. Nichols was hospitalized for 3 days before he succumbed to his injuries. The police officers, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Desmond Mills Jr., Emmett Martin III, and Justin Smith, each now facing second-degree murder and other charges in connection to Nichols' death. An internal investigation concluded the officers used excessive force and failed to intervene or render aid. A federal civil rights investigation is also underway. In Memphis, M. Nguyen, ABC News.
And thank you for that tonight. Now, in an effort to boost blood donations, the Food and Drug Administration is proposing relaxing some restrictions on donors. Specifically, the agency wants to allow more gay and bisexual men to donate, including those who are monogamous. The screening questions for blood donors who would change. The proposals are currently open for public comment for the next 60 days.
CVS and Walmart cutting pharmacy hours in thousands of locations. Both retailers blame a shortage of pharmacists. So beginning in March, Walmart expects to close pharmacies 2 hours earlier at 7 p.m. And CVS plans to adjust hours based on demand.
Well, you have probably noticed this while you're filling up your car. Gas prices rising around the country. AAA says the national average is now at $3.50 a gallon. That is up 12 cents from last week. Prices are up 40 cents in the last month. And here in Illinois, the average is even higher at $3.68 a gallon.
Next time you get a drink from McDonald's, it could look a little more like a Starbucks cup. McDonald's is testing this strawless lid in some U.S. cities. The chain hopes it cuts down on small plastics that can harm wildlife and pollute the ocean. McDonald's plans to keep straws for those who prefer them. I remember seeing, I don't know if it was McDonald's, but I remember seeing those
Like
type of
flip
lids.
the top open?
Similar to that.
Or just have a little opening.
It's got like a little slit, and then you can drink straw, though, with that Coca-Cola from McDonald's.
They have the best Coca-Cola. It's so good.
It is. It's very good.
I know.
If you've been missing the Vanilla Frosty at Wendy's, we have good news for you.
Yeah, it is Feel Good Friday, so we try to bring you something
let's
good,
get
right?
there.
The Vanilla Frosty officially returning to the menu this week. It was temporarily replaced last year by the permanent Frosty. That's kind of good for the holidays, you know, for Christmas.
Oh, the peppermint one? Yes.
Yeah, that's delicious sounding.
This is
too.
the classic.
But you got to have your vanilla.
I go with the chocolate.
Yeah, that's the one I like. It's so good. Oh, man. We always talk about food,
Well,
hunger.
It's about dinner time here on a Friday, especially. Still to come, the longtime teacher who's made Chicago proud, getting a big surprise after a serious health scare. We got a lot of weather to talk about, too. Here's Larry.
We do. We got more snow coming tomorrow, especially if you're north of the city. This winter weather advisory starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow, continues until 3 a.m. on Sunday. You can see the estimated snow totals here. Highest in the northern suburbs, 3 to 6 inches. A sharp cutoff, though, across the city with virtually not much or none if you're south. We'll talk about the snow this weekend and some cold temperatures to start next week, all coming up.
Jay Leno apparently recovering from broken bones after a motorcycle accident. He just told the Las Vegas Review-Journal he was knocked off his bike earlier this month on January 17th. He broke his collarbone, 2 ribs, cracked both his kneecaps. Wow. This comes just 2 months after Leno was hospitalized after a fire in his garage. Leno says he's okay and will perform stand-up at his residency this weekend. in Las Vegas. Jay needs to be careful.
Okay.
That's what is he? And he's older.
And he's going to Las Vegas. I hope he just sits in a really comfortable chair. He's got to. I mean, he broke his kneecaps, his collarbone, and ribs.
Remember when he was in the hospital? He was like helping. He went around the children's ward, the burn unit. I mean, the guy just. And everybody says he's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
And he just wants to do comedy, which is what he's great at. But my goodness, Jay.
Oh, it's going to hurt to laugh when your ribs are broken.
Right?
Oh,
Or he won't laugh at his own jokes. And well, if he broke his kneecaps, he's going to have to sit.
Right.
He's had a rough go.
Ouch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for the first time in its 56-year history, Common Pantry will have its very own building.
Construction kickoff was held this morning. The nonprofit plans to renovate an old restaurant to meet its needs, including space to continue Common Pantry's hot lunch program, a grocery shopping area, outdoor courtyard, and multi-purpose room. They hope to open up in the spring. That's great.
It's going to be really nice.
For sure, yeah. A teacher who thought he was meeting with the principal ended up the focus of a big surprise.
And as John Garcia shows us tonight, thousands of students and staff members showing support for the man who is currently in recovery. It's a story that is making Chicago proud.
He's known to most everyone in the community as Coach Stan, and today Coach Stan enters the gym to a standing ovation. He had no idea these Kelly College prep students and alumni and teachers were gathered to honor him today.
Coach Stan has had a tremendous impact in the lives of so many young people, going back at this point generations.
He's back after a recent health issue and fittingly being recognized in the gym, which has been named in his honor.
When I think of Stan, he is the heart of this community.
He's coached thousands of students over his career, going back some 25 years. He was also a student at Kelly, a three-sport athlete. He has spent much of his life in this Brighton Park community.
This has always been my home, my second home, and it will never change. My heart's at Kelly.
A 2015 documentary called In the Game illustrates the work Coach Stan does with the girls' soccer team he coaches and the enormous challenges they face in this socioeconomically challenged Brighton Park community.
He's always there for you. He's always asking for your family. How's your family? How's your mom? How are you?
Apart from being a great coach, I've always said that Coach Stan is also an amazing person. He cares about his students. He cares about you being well.
His athletes say he not only coaches them in sports, but more importantly, in life.
They made a difference in my life. They're the reason why I kept on going for all these years. They're my motivation. They're my strength.
All the people posing in this photo represent just a small percentage of the number of people Coach Stan has had a strong influence on in his career. And there are many more to come. He is not done yet. On the south side, John Garcia, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Look at them all behind John.
I know, right? They were posing there. All of the people that he touched, the lives that have been changed, the trajectory of their lives because of Coach Stan.
Pretty cool.
You know, everybody loves their teachers and their coaches.
When we talk about it, you always remember someone growing up, going through high school or whatever it might be, schooling, and a lot of people, that guy's
The one person that believed in you,
That's
and
the
that's
guy.
all you needed to get you through those 4 years of high school, right?
a lot of them saying Coach Stan's name.
Yeah. All right, thank you, John, for sharing that story on this Feel Good Friday. We're still going to call it a Feel Good Friday. Well, still ahead, though, the numbers are out showing the top stream shows. See if ours is in.
Did we do
here.
it?
The Stream Team in 2022. The Stream Team might be their golden hour. The golden hour, it might be hashtag golden hour. Or like an asterisk
We're
by it.
working on it. 1 year in it, we're
The hour
doing
of
it.
power, yeah. Stay tuned, we might be on that list.
I'm optimistic. Also, it's a big weekend in the NFL. I'm excited to watch some football this Sunday. We're
Okay.
making our predictions. Did you know this?
Right, oh, I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
I'm excited to hear who you got. You're usually right. We're
I
doing our
know.
prediction. We gotta get Lermo in this. Larry, you gotta make your predictions
Right,
with us.
Lermo
Everybody.
got to get in this.
All right, we'll be back and make our predictions.
All right, this is the part of the show where we usually teach Rob, of course, about the entertainment industry.
Oh, yes, right. This is true. But tonight, we're starting with sports, which I know a thing about. I think it's NFL Championship weekend in the AFC. The Chiefs hosting the Bengals. In the NFC, it's the Niners on the road. In the Eagles, at the Eagles, winners face each other in the Super Bowl. Who you got?
All right, here's who I'm hoping.
Okay.
Eagles and the Chiefs.
Eagles and the Chiefs.
Right, that's who I'm hoping.
Okay, Eagles and the Chiefs. So the home teams win. You?
I'm completely opposite. I'm Bengals and 49ers.
Bengals. Joe Burrow does it again, and the 49ers. You know, this is a crazy set. Do you know a rookie quarterback has never played in the Super Bowl?
I heard that, yeah.
Really?
So
yes.
This is going to change.
So Brock Purdy from the 49ers.
Right. He's really good.
He's really good.
Like him
I watched
too.
him.
Yeah. I like history in first.
Right? It might be.
Yeah,
so you're going with the dogs. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think you're right.
All
I'm
right.
taking the Chiefs and the Eagles. Do you have a pick, Guy?
Guy or floor director?
Okay, Michelle, what do you got up there? Tell us in our ear. Anything? She's working. Chiefs and Eagles with us, and what about Monica? She's up there tonight, right? A big Lions fan, Monica. They're not.
Birds fly for my best friend, Eagles.
Oh, for the
Eagles, okay.
Yeah, the
okay.
Eagles. And who else?
Yeah, and then
and the
Chiefs,
the
Chiefs and Bengals.
Bengals.
Okay.
Oh,
and then real quick, we might as well just go full on the Super Bowl. Who wins the Super Bowl?
The Eagles.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Well, I picked the Bengals and the 49ers. So let's go with the Bengals.
Okay, yeah, and Joe Burrow does it. He is.
He is great too. He's flashy and he's entertaining.
Nice guy.
Yeah, I mean he's a fashionista.
Here's a quick trivia thing, and you guys will know this. Chris Parrish, our 6 p.m. producer from Iowa, he had Joe Burrow's dad as a coach.
Oh.
And Chris Parrish played good. He played Division I football.
Wow.
Yeah, he was
coach in high school or college or
high school,
8th grade.
and he remembers little Joe Burrow. Oh. I kid you not, like playing with them when he was like 4 years old. He'd be around the team.
Yes. Joe Burrow was 4?
Yes.
Oh, does he have receipts? You know, we do receipts.
Right, I'd
here
love
on
a
the
picture.
show.
So Chris probably rooting for the Bengals. But he told me that today or the other day. I was like,
that's a great story.
You never know who knows who.
All right,
so
all connected somehow.
Always right. Okay, so be nice. That's what I always say. You never know.
We'll trade it. I can work on that.
Nice to everyone.
All right, yeah. So let's talk about Stranger Things.
Okay.
Did you guys big fans of Stranger Things?
The first season I've watched.
All right, the most streamed television show in the United States, according to Nielsen. People watched 52 billion minutes of Stranger Things last year. As for the movies, Encanto, we love Don't Talk About Bruno. Encanto was #1, racking up 27.4 billion minutes of viewing. We love that. You know why? We talk about Bruno because Encanto is a Disney movie, and Disney is the parent company of the Stream Team and ABC7.
So we talked too much about sports because Larry was going to read the teleprompter and then we canceled your story.
Well, the story's gone now.
It's
I can ad-lib the story. I'm good at that.
Oh, we don't have time for that's all you do. So people don't realize that we read the teleprompter a lot on this show.
Oh, it's back in there.
It's back in. We were going. Okay,
so
go for it.
Can I get a solo shot?
What's a solo shot? Read it.
We got to give Larry his.
Are disappointed tonight. He had to cancel his show because of flooding rains that hit New Zealand. Apparently promoters made the decision right before the show was set to start. John was already at the venue, and the concert was part of his big farewell tour.
Okay, that was
pretty good.
You added some words.
I haven't read the prompter in probably
You did a great
3
job.
years.
You did, yeah.
You reclaimed your time. Okay?
Right.
Don't cut my story.
No, we didn't. So, but that will cut into your weather time, which is fine.
That's okay.
We've got weather to talk about.
We'll let you get over there.
Yeah,
People don't realize that you ad-lib weather.
Everything, yeah.
Everything.
Nothing scripted.
And a lot on this show. Yeah, like this show, the back end of this show isn't either.
And that's why we call him Mr. Worldwide.
There we go.
All right.
Well, let's talk about that weather because that's what I'm good at because we got some snow coming our way again tomorrow. And we've got this winter weather advisory in place from 9 a.m. tomorrow through 3 a.m. on Sunday. You can see the areas shaded in blue are under the advisory. It includes the city, DuPage County, Kane and DeKalb counties, and Lake and McHenry counties. You're included in the winter weather advisory, but not areas to the south. And you kind of see that reflected in the snow forecast for this event. We're looking at 3 to potentially 6 inches of snow across the far northern suburbs, but there's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff from the have and have-nots from this snowstorm. Down to the south, a dusting and maybe an inch or two. And then right across the city into the western suburbs, that's where that cutoff will be located. Now, as we look a little closer at the snow potential, I will point out that if you're in the far northern sections here of our area, right along the state line and then into southern Wisconsin, there are some indications that the potential is there for some isolated 6 or more inches of snow. Now, that heavy band of snow that develops up here across southern Wisconsin could lift a farther to the north or a little farther to the south. But you get the general sense there of where I think the bulk of the snow will fall, and that's going to be in the far northern suburbs. Right now it's quiet. Temperatures are starting to drop off. We did warm into the mid-30s earlier today. As these scattered bursts of snow came through, they put down some quick accumulation of about a ½ inch. The winds picked up as well, but our temperatures range from 23 in Woodstock now to 34 in Valparaiso. The colder air is winning out as a cold front is sliding through as we speak. It's still pretty windy. Gusts up around 30 miles per hour here around the city. Still some gusts above 40 miles per hour over in Valparaiso. But here's our system coming our way for tomorrow. It's going to track out of the Rockies and then head in our direction. We'll see the snow pick up around midday tomorrow. Tomorrow early morning will be quiet, upper teens to low 20s. Then we get those scattered snow showers during the late morning. The snow will kind of favor and kind of concentrate up into the northern half of the area throughout the afternoon. So from the city southward, there may not be much snow during the daylight hours, but as we head into tomorrow evening, that snow expands a little bit farther to the south. And I am a little concerned about the pink that you see on Futurecast. There could be a period of some light freezing rain across our far southern suburbs here, including parts of northwest Indiana. So be aware of that. Tomorrow evening, once the sun goes down, we could have some freezing drizzle. The rest of the area will see scattered snow showers that will linger into the overnight hours with some lake enhancement Saturday night into Sunday morning. That could be pointed right at the city into parts of northwest Indiana through the morning hours on Sunday. So I want to show you one of the forecast models here. This is the European model. It's showing 3 to 4, even some isolated 5-inch totals across the northern half of the area and not much to the south. The graph model shows some very high totals up along the state line. That's why I highlighted that zone where the potential is there for 6 or more inches of snow. It's a small potential, but it could happen. 36 is the high today. 13 the low, which is the coldest morning we've seen so far this month. Not quite as cold tonight, but we'll drop into the teens and low 20s. Tomorrow, those snow showers arrive with our AccuWeather alert, 29. Light snow Sunday with a high of 26. Really cold Monday and Tuesday. Looks like next week's going to feel very winter-like, but we'll get some sunshine next week. All right, we'll take a short break. Be back after this.
Tonight at 10 on ABC 7 Eyewitness News, homelessness in our area. Tonight, we're meeting the people behind the numbers. We'll tell you their stories and about the millions of dollars invested since the pandemic began to help. Tonight at 10 over on ABC 7. We thank you for joining us here on the Stream team all week long, everybody. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Definitely. We'll be back, the three of us at 10. Mark Rivera putting that story together for us. We'll also have the latest on developments down in Memphis. We hope you can join us for that as well.
All right. Have a safe, warm, and healthy weekend, everybody. Again, thank you for joining us. See you at 10 on ABC 7.